Yes guys, we are of course back with another video, and today guys we are covering the third volume of Banned in America. It's been a long time, but I cannot seem to get my camera straight. Holy shit. There we go, I think you're cool there. Yeah, we're covering volume 3 of Banned in America, which is why I'm up close and personal today. I'm going to take it through, take you guys through it. Maybe include some screenshots and videos like last time. It seems to be a popular one. You guys seem to like it, so we're going to continue on. We're halfway there, and I actually really enjoy this shockumentary. I think it's a good series of shockumentaries to cover, so here we are again. As usual, you'll have background noise, unless some really weird stuff comes up, in which case I'll try and get rid of it. But yeah, here we go. Episode 3, Volume 3 of Banned in America. Now I do have these boss-ass Kanye beats, which I'm going to slip off one ear. I look like an idiot, but it's just how we do. I need one ear free so I know what I'm saying, because they're quite noise cancelling, so I can't hear a single thing. And I don't want to be too loud. You know, these videos are meant to be quite chill explanations, so yeah, in one ear, out the other. So here we go. Let's play the video. Of course, you've got the warning that comes up straight away, warning you that what you're going to see will shock you, and it usually does. It does it well on these documentaries, and I think throughout this I'll be cutting parts out as well, so there were a lot of silent parts last time I covered this. So yeah, I'll probably be cutting quite a bit out and just giving you a brief explanation overall, just so it's not as long as well, because I think it was about 1 hour 10 last time. Oh, here we go. Banned in America 3. You've got a little countdown that comes up, that's pretty cool. Might use that for the start of the video. Alright, first clip comes up, there's a lot of sirens. Not quite sure what that is. Some dude looking out of a window.
These two men have just robbed a jewelry store.
I was focusing on robberies today. That's pretty cool. Well, not cool. Don't rob. It's bad to rob. There's a construction worker running down somewhere, informing the police that there's been a robbery. Nothing too interesting going on at the moment.
This time, justice is swift.
Oh wow. The security guards. Yo. He just shot these two blokes on a bike down. Like, this guy we went to get a weapon out. There's two guys on a bike. He went to get the weapon out, one of these guys on a bike, and he just fucking shot them all. Shot them both. Like a magnum. I think it's a magnum anyway. I can probably show you guys up to the point where he shoots them actually, so you might have a bit down here. Down there. Yeah, that's wow. Bloody hell, right in the face as well. And he let off a lot of shots as well. On both of the guys. The guy at the back tried to run away, but he got shot, and it's just shotting it over and over. Bloody hell. I think the second guy did get away actually. Okay, second clip shows some guys who look like they're part of the band Kiss, and they're basically walking up this mountain with a body on a sort of on a bed, and they're basically carrying it up a mountain. And it looks like some kind of funeral process. I mean, there's a lot of people with flags there. It looks like some kind of Renaissance thing. But they all look like Gene Wilder, which is a bit weird. Is it Gene Wilder? No, Gene Simmons. I do apologise. Gene Wilder was the guy from Willy Wonka.
In some countries, birdseed is hard to come by.
Shit, okay, so it's not a funeral. Basically feeding birds with this guy. Ooh, chopping his arm off. Wow. They're basically using this guy to
You have
feed
to
the
hand it to
animals.
them. They certainly are resourceful.
Yeah, they're basically chopping this guy's limbs off to feed it to birds and stuff. Ooh, just chuck an arm in there. It's cool. You do you. A little vulture there as well. Oh, and they're taking his guts out and stuff. This looks very cultish. Like this, I think this might be a cult, you know, some kind of cult. I'd love to know the story behind this, because from what I see, it looks like somebody's died and they're basically feeding birds with somebody's body.
In Africa, animals are used to clear minefields.
Oh wow. That's not good. Okay, so wow. Holy shit. Okay, so you probably heard that in Africa animals are used to clear minefields, and they're basically scaring away all these sort of antelopes and zebras and tigers. And these antelopes, holy shit. Don't play that kind of music.
Poor Bambi.
Did you just say poor Bambi? No, okay. Let's pause there real quick. Yeah, they were basically using animals to clear minefields in Africa. And they were basically scaring them away. I presume they were just sort of shooting up into the air, scaring everything away. And these animals would run into minefields and they'd blow up and they'd go flying miles high. It basically started. It showed this deer blowing up and going into the air and then coming down, and the narrator said, "Poor Bambi." Yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal way to clear mines, I presume. There's other solutions, I don't know, get some remote controlled cars, send them across. Don't use animals, especially not in the wild, because that'd just scare the shit out of animals, wouldn't it? They won't even want to go back to the home. It's a little bit sad, is that, but it's the way they do it over there. I can't judge that. I really can't. Right, next up,
As this dragster careens out of control.
we've got a dragster, and holy shit, what happened? There was this dragster. If you don't know what a dragster is, it's one of those big long cars where they do drag races. You probably know what I mean now. And there's this dragster, and it was going along a stadium, and it's showing the aftermath. There's a guy on the floor, he's died, I think. He's smoking. And what happened was this dragster basically, pause there, this dragster's wheels came off, the front two wheels came off, flew into the audience that were watching, and the dude obviously fell out of the dragster as well. And it showed the aftermath, and the dude was just on the floor, dead and smoking. So I can only presume he died or he had very, very critical injuries. Next clip shows a bull and a cow. It's more of this sort of Earthlings kind of stuff. There's basically a cow that's tied up, and they slit his throat. You know, the horrible way that people kill farm animals. And they basically slit this cow's throat and collected the blood in a bucket. And obviously there's drains there as well.
In many parts of the world, they are too poor to afford beer.
Oh, okay. They're getting pissed on the blood, apparently. That's not what I expected. They're drinking the blood of cows. I wonder what that
Here's
does.
to your health.
I wonder what that does for them. Surely cow blood doesn't get you pissed. But why compare it to beer? I mean, you've got a dog licking it all up as well, so must be nice. So the next clip's basically a street fight.
Girls involved in a gang initiation.
Oh, an initiation. There's basically 4 girls around this other girl, and they're basically kicking her on the floor. The gang initiation, she's smiling, she's happy about it, she knows she's in the gang. That's a bit weird. But I don't know why you need to get your ass beat to get into a gang. I don't understand it. It's never something I've looked into, becoming part of a gang, of course. They're really laying into her though. Jesus. But she was smiling when she got up, which is very strange. There's a lot of variety in this one so far. It's been like 6 minutes, but...
A young couple dismembered this man in their kitchen and documented it all on film.
Pause. Right. The next clip's just come up, or a picture rather. And it's a naked woman sitting next to a naked man, who I can only presume is dead. And as you just heard, they dismembered this guy. So this woman's got a knife to his penis, and he's either dead or blacked out. Let's continue. I just had to pause that there because I needed to see what I was trying to take in.
The trouble is, they turned in the role to their local 1-hour photo lab to be developed.
Oh. Okay. Pause. So it's basically just showing a variety of pictures. The second picture came up. It's the bloke of this couple, also naked, wearing white socks, because apparently people wear socks during sexual intercourse, which is a bit fucking weird. No offence. And it basically shows him gouging the guy's eyes out, I think. It's not very clear at all. It's not a clear picture at all. I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing there, but the guy's body is completely bruised. The dead guy, I mean, not the alive guy doing the gouging. Is completely bruised. This guy, the man of the couple's smiling.
In turn, the photo lab turned them in to the police.
Obviously. So obviously they were turned into the police because of this. Showing another picture here. Let's pause that real quick. The guy of the couple is sitting next to this corpse, an owl corpse, still naked with socks on. And it looks like he's shoving a sex toy into this guy's mouth. Still, I'm not entirely sure what I'm seeing because the pictures aren't amazing quality. The guy's also tied up like that. The dead guy is also tied up, and he just looks very. He looks very rotten. I'll say that. He doesn't look like he's just died. He looks like he's been like that for some time. Next picture comes up and it's basically, pause again, sorry. The guy, the couple, he's got a saw in one hand. It just shows his hands and his legs. It looks like he's about to chop his head off, basically. That's it. Yep, okay, next picture shows, pause, the nude woman posing with the saw on this guy's throat. So she's about to cut his head off, basically, on this picture. So, by the way, these aren't videos, these are just pictures. I'm just trying to explain the picture the best I can to you. And she's basically smiling and posing with this saw, which is a little bit fucked up if you think about it. You know, smiling for a picture with somebody who's dead. Very fucked up. Yeah, next picture is basically the woman about to cut the head off of this man with the saw. Nothing different, it's just a different angle, and it's showing her about to start the process. Okay, and what I can only assume is the final picture basically shows the corpse of this bloke. His arms have been chopped off, one of his hands has been chopped off at the wrist, his legs have both been chopped off, and it's also showing that his head has been decapitated by either the man or the woman. I don't know, it's not clear. But yeah, it's basically just showing the corpse of the torso of a corpse and this guy's arm, which is pretty disgusting, let's be honest. Oh great, okay. Pause. Whew. Wasn't expecting that. It's also showing, that's fucked up. It's basically showing the head of this guy on a chair with a pillow under it. Obviously I can't show this because it's bad. It's basically showing a picture of this guy's head. And they put the hand that they chopped off. Do you remember when I mentioned the handless corpse? They basically put his middle finger up his nose. Why? What's it for? Comedic value. It's not that funny really, it's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. And again, it's showing it from another angle, a bit of a scarier angle actually, with the face up front, right to the camera, looking at the camera. And another one, it's basically just showing a ton of pictures now of this head, and that's it. Fucked up, very fucked up. And there's another one here. Let's pause again. I do apologise, there's a lot of pictures. Fucking hell. It's basically showing the head with, instead of the hand, it's now a foot with its big toe inside this man's mouth, which is, yeah, wow, what a fucked up couple, honestly. I wonder if there's more to this story. This is something I'd really like to talk about in full. Names and everything. Jesus. Okay. Can't imagine there's any more pictures. No way. Next clip. Okay. Next clip shows a guy on the floor. He looks very drunk. Oh no, he's not drunk, he's dead. Fucking hell. It's in a bathroom, it's in a kitchen, and there's a dude who's dead on the floor in his underwear. There's a phone hanging down from a dial, so I presume he's only gone to call the cops or something like that. Apologise for my English. And he's basically been shot.
Those harassing calls from bill collectors can really get to you sometimes.
Ah, okay. Suicide. It's a suicide. He's shot himself in the mouth. Right, okay. So it's like he's been on the phone to someone, maybe an ex-lover, I don't know, debt collector, as he said here, and he's had enough and he's just decided to end it. Yeah, wow. Wow. It's amazing how Obviously it's not amazing, but it's interesting how much damage a weapon can do, even a small pistol like that. It's just amazing how much damage it can do to people. And that's the scary part about guns, because obviously living in the UK we don't have guns over here. There is a lot of knife crime instead, granted, but we don't have guns here, so we don't really see this kind of stuff interesting, because you don't really see the true extent of like.
Worshippers taking.
Didn't finish what I'm saying then. Shit. You don't really see the true extent of what guns do over here. We're quite hidden from it over here, so you don't see a lot of that kind of stuff. Okay, next clip.
Worshippers taking part in a religious meeting, but the rites they will perform require both nerves and artifacts of steel. These Jordanian followers of the Muslim Imam Rifai pierce their bodies to show the strength of their faith. This that's been banned by mainstream Muslims.
Right, so a guy's just got
his. The sect are no less eager to get to the point of the ceremony. Named after the 17th century Imam who inspired the practice, the Rifais are able to spear their bodies without any apparent signs of pain. The experience, however, does appear to be rather exhausting. After members have proved their mettle, the skewers are removed.
Oof.
Westerners may find it hard to understand, but for followers the experience is an uplifting one. Wounds are remarkably, perhaps miraculously small. Clearly the word is mightier than the sword.
Okay.
This Palestinian...
Yeah, let's pause before the next clip rolls out. Shit. Okay, so it was some sort of... I'm not going to say Islamic, I did before, I do apologise. Some kind of Islamic sort of ceremony where these Muslims will pierce their bodies with all sorts of stuff, big metal wire sort of things, and they basically put it through the stomachs and stuff like that. And as you probably heard the narrator say, it's not actually celebrated by most Muslims. Now, I'm not big on religion, so I do apologise. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not sure if this is just going to be like a small group of people who do this, because obviously it said it's not. God, how do I say this without sounding like shit? It's not the normal Islamic practice you probably learn about in school, and I'm going to leave it at that and move on to the next clip before I say something stupid.
This Palestinian terrorist was shot in the head by Israeli soldiers as they witnessed the terrorist stab a man in the town square of East Jerusalem.
Wow, okay. So it's basically showing the death scene of a terrorist who's been shot in the head. I don't mind these clips because it's showing how good things happening, I suppose.
Paramedics are frantically working to resuscitate the stab victim, but to no avail.
Oh, that's a shame. See, the stab victim actually did die, which is a shame. Luckily he was avenged very quickly. The terrorist was shot dead. But yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for the stab victim. Quite sad. But they're basically just showing these medics, pushing on his chest, doing CPR on this guy. It's not showing the terrorist anymore. And so it shouldn't. It should just be completely forgotten about, let's be honest. I know that's probably harsh. Okay, next clip comes up, it's basically CCTV. Oh, there's a stream. Yo, some dude's just kicked off. It was like a CCTV of people standing in the street, and some dude just swung at another bloke. Nothing too interesting there.
Yes, Harry Brandon, Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI San Juan. The question has been asked as to how the FBI came into this disaster. The evening that the fire occurred during a coordinating meeting with local and federal officials. The services of the FBI disaster team were offered, as happens in any major disaster where U.S. citizens are involved. The Commonwealth officials readily accepted our offer of services, and that night the equipment was loaded and the disaster team was flown down here to begin work the next day. And I'm not an expert in this area, but I would like to introduce you to an expert, Mr. Bill Garvey from FBI headquarters, who I think can answer your other questions.
Good. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's pause real quick. So from what it sounds like, you might have heard, there's an agent here, and he's basically talking about a disaster that's happened. There's a group of scientists around a body, and they're scraping off little bits. It looks like the body's been badly burnt, and it looks like, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll carry on. I know there's a lot of talking in this one, by the way, guys, so I do apologise for those really silent moments. And if it doesn't record the background noise, I'll just edit it all out so I'm talking. But if you can hear the background noise, that's amazing. It means you're getting a brief explanation of what's going on before I start talking. But yeah, there is a lot of talking in this one, fucking hell. Okay, I'll continue it, see what happens.
How's it going?
Well, I'm a special agent from the FBI Identification Division in charge of this disaster squad. We have 8 technicians down here working from the FBI Identification Division, and we have a total of 233 years of fingerprint experience in those 8 technicians. What we're doing is we're removing the fingerprint evidence from the bodies. We're documenting that on fingerprint cards, and we're receiving information from relatives and any other source we can receive information on people who may have died in the disaster. We then call our Washington office to search against our fingerprint files. We have fingerprints on approximately 67 million Americans in our files in Washington. They search the names against those records, send those fingerprint cards down to us here. We then take the evidence that we lifted off of the body, compare that against the fingerprint cards that are sent to us from Washington and also being provided by the police of San Juan, and try and make identifications with that information.
How many fingerprints have you received from the States then, or requested?
Last night we requested fingerprints on 18 individuals. We received fingerprints on 60 possibilities this morning.
60?
60, right.
From the U.S.?
From the U.S.
Wow, okay. That was a long one, but it's basically showing the process of 18 people getting, dead people by the way, from a disaster, getting ID'd by fingerprints. So what they've done is they've taken like the fingerprint of a thumb or something, and or a finger, and they've basically taken it. Now I'm not sure if these bodies were blown up or anything like that. It doesn't really show that. It's showing some fingers, it's showing some skin, and what they're doing is they're basically putting these fingerprints and matching them up with individuals that have died in this disaster, and they're matching them up with the corpses, trying to identify them, and it's very interesting stuff. This is the kind of stuff I like to look at, you know, crime scene stuff that you never really see on TV. This sort of stuff, like sort of behind the scenes, you only really see it on TV shows. You don't see it up close and personal like this, and it's really interesting the stuff they're doing. They're basically attaching the fingers onto, obviously hollowed out, the skin is going over the gloves of these people, and they're basically pressing it against paper and getting a fingerprint out of it, and I find that truly amazing. It's really clever, really clever. Let's continue on.
We have several...
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
What that means is those 18 individuals, we might have given them a name such as mine, William Garvey. We might have had 5 William Garveys in our file, and we would want to compare it against each one of those.
Doesn't mean that 60 U.S. citizens were in this.
No, absolutely not. And in fact, out of those 60 fingerprint cards that came down here, we may not make any identifications against these records that we lifted off the bodies.
Can you tell us how many Americans you have identified? or suspect?
At the present time, since we've only started to receive fingerprint cards, I can't speak as far as fingerprint identification. We've only made 2. One has been on a Secret Service agent, and one was on another fingerprint card that we received this morning. However, we expect to start making a lot of identifications as the fingerprint cards roll in. In the past, on disasters, and we have handled, to be exact, we handled 131 disasters since January of 1959. In those 131 disasters, we processed over 5,500 bodies and were able to identify over 60% of the bodies by fingerprint. From this particular body, we have lifted 7 fingers. 7 fingers. Now, each one of those fingers will be compared against the fingers on a card of an individual we know. And any one of those fingers could make the positive identification. So if we can lift good prints from 1 finger off of a cadaver, we can make a positive identification.
Wow.
The second day of the Pamplona Festival.
That was very interesting. That was a lot of talking. And hopefully you guys might have learned a little bit something from that. I mean, I'm sure I can show maybe some of the clips of what's going on. Yeah, wow.
The second day of the Pamplona Festival began quite normally, with nothing to indicate the bulls might turn.
Got a Pamplona.
But high drama was in store, with several of the animals determined to give the runners what they'd come for: excitement and danger.
The bulls are getting angry. There's a lot of bulls knocking about.
The bulls claimed 5 victims, 2 of them women. But the most serious incident involved a young Swede. He made the dangerous mistake of turning his back. Speared through the upper thigh, for more than 10 seconds he wrestled for his very life.
Oh shit. So basically this bull just straight up, this guy turned his back and this bull ran head first into him. Now, if you don't know what this is, I've explained it before on the first one, I believe. Pamplona is something that happens in Spain, maybe. And what they do is, there's a huge crowd and they'll run through some streets and they'll set some bulls out on them. And obviously the bulls are very angry. Sorry, there was a dog in the background, I do apologise. And they set the bulls on people and the bulls will come and charge at them. And in this video there's a guy who's turned his back on a bull and he's got spiked almost up the arse by a bull. And that's why you shouldn't do bull runs, because they are bad for you and for the bull.
Even by Pamplona's standards of bravado, it was a long and dangerous run. By the time all the bulls had entered the ring, the run had taken more than twice the average time it usually takes to complete the course.
Jesus. So I'm not sure exactly how long these runs are meant to take. It's basically showing the end of a run. Obviously everybody's let the guard down and these bulls have gone crazy and started stabbing people with the horns. And the bulls have just been locked back into some gates now.
But the route to recovery for Torli Aaaand may take many months. As paramedics administered first aid, he remained conscious, shocked, but obviously in pain. The hospital later reported that he was in a serious condition.
Wow. Yeah, so that bull obviously spiked him in the thigh. He was bleeding out badly. He might have hit a nerve or something like that. But again, don't fucking bull run. It's bad. Okay, next clip basically shows what looks like riots. Ton of police. Fires everywhere. Cars smashed up. People on the ground. I think this could be a natural disaster actually. I'm sure we'll get narrated something in a bit.
Came back from work and the bomb blast it hit the water city with my back.
I can't understand what she's saying.
It is an act of terrorism. It's an act of blatant undemocratic intimidation.
Just 3 days before these historic elections, there was hope that the threatened violence could be controlled. But this is an ominous development, a terrorist attack in the heart of South Africa's busiest city.
Terrorist attack in South Africa, right, okay. It's basically showing a lot of South African people rioting now in this city. Obviously all rioting over the terrorist attack that happened. It's the same city. It's basically showing people with guns and just your usual riot activities, people smashing cars, people smashing buildings. There's cops there facing them. No riot police or anything like that. It's just people in uniform. People have been shot by the police, obviously.
It seemed well as the star turn was put through its paces. Then disaster.
Miraculously,
no one was seriously hurt.
Next clip shows a jet, and it's basically falling out of the sky.
A flash of fire, and the pride of the Swedish Air Force had tumbled to the ground.
Now it's just shown basically the jet. Sorry, I've interrupted that a little bit, but it was very quick. There was basically a jet that was flying in the sky, and this jet it looked like a kite, and it came crashing down. And the narrator basically just said that nobody was badly injured, which was really surprising because that thing went up in flames. I can probably show you the jet flying about until it crashes. I don't wish to put the actual impact on here, but I will show you the jet going out of control, of course. So we're about halfway through, and I can tell this is going to be one of the longer ones. So I'll probably start this again tomorrow. Obviously in the same video, you'll just see me in a different t-shirt. But yeah, here is tomorrow. Alright, it's day 2, and we're hopefully going to cover the rest of this thing. Let's do it. Okay, so
spectators looked on as smoke billowed from the crash site.
we basically left off here.
The crash showed the fighter carrying out its low-level maneuvers over the centre of Stockholm.
Yeah, there's a jet that's flying across the sky.
Thousands of people watched as the plane stalled above them. The cause
And
of the accident is not known.
So much talking, it's unbelievable.
Coming down only a mile from City Hall, the fighter fortunately hit the ground in a wooded area. The pilot parachuted to safety and was taken to hospital with minor back injuries. Newly developed, the fighter was the first of its type delivered to the Swedish Air Force.
Okay, so it's just shown a video of a guy in Stockholm flying a jet, and he's been doing some manoeuvres. I mean, I'll explain these all to you after they've finished narrating them, because it is difficult to hear. I'm struggling to sort of hear it as well. It's very sort of 90s over voiceover sort of stuff. So yeah, there was basically this jet in Stockholm. The guy managed to parachute out of this jet and land to safety. And I can probably include this clip as well because nothing happened, nothing bad happened in it. So yeah, that's cool. Next clip, I suppose.
Near Santa Ana, 11 people were executed by death squads.
Oh wow.
Bodies were found with their hands tied behind their backs.
Okay, so next clip comes up and it's basically there's been like a firing squad on some people. They've basically been laying down, the hands tied behind the back, and shot by a firing squad. And I'm pretty sure they'll tell us what's going on. So it's just showing the aftermath of what's gone on. Blood all over the floor, of course. Crowds watching. And they're basically just loading these bodies into the back of a wagon. Yeah, nothing too interesting going on there. I'm not sure if it said India or Indiana. Pretty sure it said India. Okay, now right. One of them's just picked up a guy. I'll pause that real quick. They've just picked up this dead guy, and he's just like rock solid, like rigor mortis is set in early or something like that, which was kind of weird. He looked like a cardboard cutout. That was really weird. Really weird. Let's continue. Again, I'll mention this in the second one. when they've got these things going on, there's no sort of crime scene tape or anything like that. It's not cordoned off. They're just letting people watch this thing that's going on. Kids and everything. It's very strange. And like I say, that's very alien to me, is that?
Dan, you want to move that mic back out a little?
And there's people covering their noses, so obviously the smell's that bad. People watching from the rooftops and tops and everything. Oh, and it's showing them getting loaded into a morgue. Okay. Dragging these bodies off the back of a van and taking them into a morgue. Wrapping them up in sheets and dragging them in. Right. It's going to show us the whole process here, isn't it? And the scary thing is about this video, or these videos of this nature, when these kids are actually gathered around, they don't seem to be affected by it whatsoever, and that's the scary part. They're just sort of there, just watching it like this is normal. This is normal life, which shouldn't really be a way for kids. Really, it's a little bit disturbing in that aspect. Yeah, it's just continuing to show bodies on the floor and that's it. Tied up, the guy with a gun who I can only presume has just done the shooting. Okay, it's actually showing a lot of cars going down a path and there's some gunmen who are looking into these cars that are going past. And putting flags on the front of on the back of the cars. Next clip comes up. There's just some women playing some bagpipe things.
Sellers at any sport, but these occasions in Pakistan are anything but sporting. They're caught as cubs, with their teeth and sometimes their claws removed. The Himalayan black bears are trained up for about 80 annual battles with pit bull terriers. Their mating attracts crowds of 3,000. Yet it's been illegal for 100 years.
Okay, so what's going on is, sorry to interrupt, lady. In Pakistan, I believe it said, there's this tradition that's going on where they gather a lot of bears who were raised as cubs and a ton of pit bulls. It's always pit bulls. It's always pit bulls. And they basically make them both fight to the death. And that's what's about to happen here. I presume we're going to see it, which is simply awful. But let's continue on.
And attended by local police, the macabre sport is organised and engineered by wealthy landlords. 10 bears are entered in the contest. Each fights 3 3-minute rounds with the highly trained pit bull terriers. A symbol of prestige, the dogs are trained on donkeys and small bears. Their bigger victims are tethered to the ground before being set upon by 2 or more dogs.
Again, you might have heard a mention there, the wealthy. It's always the wealthy. Why do the wealthy, I'm going off on another tangent here, I did last time, but why do the wealthy always like this sort of shit? Is it because they're so rich that they think they can just afford to do stuff like this and think that they're not in the system of the law? I don't know. I will never understand the thought process behind these rich people who watch this kind of stuff for fun and to bet on it. It makes me a bit angry, to be honest. Let's keep it calm and cool. Let's carry on and see what happens. See what happens here.
It is on the northwestern frontier a matter of ceremony. The dogs win if they can drag the bear by its nose to the ground within 3 minutes. The dogs are trained to clamp their powerful jaws around the bear's muzzle, face and neck. Without teeth, the bears can but suck their attackers. This one still has claws, many others don't.
Okay, so, sorry, it's just showing now this dog's been let loose on this bear, and basically the bear's got no teeth. They don't take the claws out, or they do sometimes take the claws out, but in this case they've taken its teeth out, but they've not taken the claws out, and it's managed to sort of get on top of this dog and just sort of claw it. I mean, the dog's managed to get its teeth into the bear, but the bear's pounced on it, and is clawing it, I imagine, now. Anyway, let's continue.
Wins if it stays on its feet and in control. Under the so-called rules, the dogs must be called off after 3 minutes, but it's unlikely the owners would be punished if they weren't.
Okay, so he's just teasing the bear.
There is an overall sense of lawlessness. The event is illegal. Win or lose, bears fight 3 bouts in a row against fresh sets of dogs each time.
So it mentioned that it was illegal, but on this clip, and like I say, I can show you guys some of this, not the attack stuff obviously, it won't be in sync with what I'm saying, but there are army men there as well, so people from the actual military are attending this illegal fight. Let's continue on.
This is called entertainment.
Next clip, showing the car.
In Los Angeles, there are so many cars. Things like this are bound to happen.
What's happened? Oh, somebody under a car. Okay, somebody's been crushed by a car. Presumably dead. So they try to lift up this car by pushing stuff under it, and pumping up the tyres, so ultimately it lifts the car up, so they can get this body out of the bottom of the car. They managed to pull the car up, and they've got the body out on a stretcher. Alright, next clip. Well,
this is a photograph of rapper Tupac Shakur's autopsy, taken after his murder in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yo, let me stop real quick there. Tupac Shakur. This is his autopsy picture. I obviously can't show it. And we're not going to go into the whole Tupac never died sort of thing. Because what I'm seeing here is clearly Tupac. Myth debunked. We can all stop talking about it now. It's been 20 years. Give up. God. God, I just spelt that down myself. Jesus Christ. Mocky bastard. Let's continue on. Okay. Next picture comes up. I don't know what's gone on. Hopefully we'll get an explanation, but there's a guy on the floor in a red shirt. This is just a picture. And he's leaning over like that with his head to the ground, and behind him there's an arm, a whole arm just there. It looks fake, which is weird. Wow, it looks like a doll's arm. But no, it's a real arm. It's not a doll's arm, it's a real arm. So we're not going to get an explanation on that one. I think these are just crime pictures.
Accidents, autopsies, gruesome murders, all caught on camera.
Okay, so the next picture came up, and it's a guy lying on an ambulance bed, and he's just covered in dark red blood. Like I don't even know how to say it. It's just red. It's not even human flesh coloured. It's just red. I'm not sure what's happened there. I would like to know, of course, but it doesn't seem like we're getting much of an explanation on these pictures. You sort of got to guess for yourself what's been going on, and it's all just crime scene pictures and all that kind of stuff. Moving on. Next picture comes up. Again, it's a bloke lying on a ambulance bed. I think it's the same guy actually, and it looks like it's taken from a different angle. It's taken from the side of this bloke. They've taken his shirt off and they've put a white towel. Well, it's no longer white, it's red. It looks like some kind of shotgun suicide sort of thing. Like the towel is over his face, but there is no face there. Basically the towel sinks down into his face, so where his face should be, this white towel basically sinks down into his face. Let's continue on. Okay. Next picture comes up and it looks like they've sort of tried to reattach his face. I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing, but you can tell there's like outlines on his neck where it looks like he's had some sort of a skin. His skin's been sewn up or something. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. But it looks like his face has tried to be reattached or something like that, which is pretty strange. Let's move on. It's basically showing his torso and lower area. It looks like a stab wound on his torso. No damage to the legs and the genitals, and they've opened him up. Another picture comes up, they've opened him up. It's like a pizza inside him. That's what the human body looks like inside, I suppose. Big pizza, and they've taken out his kidneys. There's a picture of somebody with a kidney in their hand. Wow, it's huge. I just had pizza before this.
These are crime scene photos of the aftermath of an Australian biker gang massacre.
Okay, so let's pause real quick because I just got a text. Okay, so next picture comes up. It's basically a guy who's part of a biker group, has been shot down, as he said, and he's on the floor, face on the floor, covered in blood, and that's it. Moving on. Let's see what we've got next. It's just showing a close-up of this guy's face. You can tell it's a biker because he's wearing a biker's jacket and it's got the logo on the back of it, but it's just showing his face, blood all over his face, and that's it. There's another guy showing him close up. I think there's two of them that got shot. Not sure what it were over. There's a third guy who looks a bit worse off. He's surrounded by a pool of blood. But they've sort of got like little evidence notes on the chest just stuck to him. There's a fourth guy as well. Wow. And basically just got yellow notes on top of them saying body number 1, body number 2, body number 3. Oh, there's a fifth guy as well. Bloody hell, there's loads of them. It's basically just showing mugshots of these bikers who have been murdered. There's guy number 5, guy number 6. Jesus. 6 people. 6 lives lost. Wow. All for being part of a biker group. Okay, another clip comes up.
This rare footage was smuggled out of a third world village where violence runs rampant.
Okay, so I've seen some guys strolling into a... Oh, there's somebody dead on the floor. They've basically gone into a little convenience store, market, and there's a guy on the floor. Covered with a tarp. Not sure what's happened to him. The quality of this one's really blurry. Yeah, there's not much I can say about this one. Basically moving the body out of this store. And the funky music, whoa! I turned him over. There's just this pool of blood. Holy shit. He's like soaked in it. So it looks like he's been shot. I think he's been shot. Looks like he's got bullet wounds or shrapnel on him. And what they're doing is they're just poking at this guy's face, trying to check for bullets, I assume. I'm not quite sure. They're basically checking his teeth. Checking around his face. There's blood all over his face, of course. I think they're just checking it for shrapnel or bullets or other markings. Okay, next clip comes up, and there's 2 guys fighting.
You mix too much alcohol with too much testosterone.
Okay, there's 2 guys on the beach fighting. Somebody's got a guy pinned down and he's proper whacking him. And there's some dogs running about. Okay. Nothing too crazy. It's just a guy getting punched on the ground. Can probably show you some of this. Or screenshots at least. Because we don't want to lose our YouTube channel yet, do we? Putting somebody getting smacked in the face. Oh, the guy on the bottom got the advantage, and he's on top of him and he's got him in the sleeper hold. Oh. Oh, he's got him in the sleeper hold now. He's not getting out of that. Shit. Oh, look like they're having a good time there. And he's trying to tap out this guy on the bottom. He's still trying to tap out. He's had him in the hold for about 45 seconds now. It looks like the guy on the bottom's done. Looks like he's been knocked out. You won't like choking him or anything, but he was just sort of putting him in the sleeper hold. Unless he is dead, in that case, God knows. But this guy who was on the bottom is picking this dude up now. Is he dead? Yeah, I think this guy might be dead.
Strangling his opponent seemingly to death, he
Oh.
now tries to revive him. Is this a lover's quarrel? You decide.
Well, great. If you're going to strangle someone to death, you might as well revive them afterwards. Brilliant. Well done. Jesus Christ. This dude's sat on top of him now, and he looks like he's completely fucked up. Which he has. I think he's killed him, actually. This dude's pacing about now, like wondering what the fuck to do. Like, dude just killed his boyfriend. Or whatever. It could have been his friend. I don't know. Could have been a random guy. But it looks like these guys were at a nice day at the beach. And something's flipped. And he's just gone and killed his BF. And the dude's just gone and got a bottle of water out the back of his car. And just started swirling his face with it. Oh, he's alive! The dude's alive. Shit. Okay, he managed to revive him by the looks of it. And now the other dude's getting up. Jesus Christ. That's some Taylor Swift bullshit there. God damn. I thought I'd killed him. I thought I'd choked him and he'd killed him, but apparently not. And now everybody's playing Happy Families. Brilliant. Jesus Christ. Looks like you just sat down there saying, look, I'm sorry I choked you out, bruv. What happened again? I'd love to know the context behind that though. I mean, you guys are probably going to see this clip anyway, so... or some of it.
The crowd reacts in horror as an innocent man is crushed by a tank.
Oh shit. Okay. So next clip comes up. And there's basically this huge tank, and there's a guy lying on the floor. Probably in protest, I don't know. Could be in protest, and this tank's just completely obliterated him. Like, excuse me, it's just gone over him completely. And yeah, he's pretty dead. So there's that. Let's continue on. Now the crowd's going mad. People are on the floor screaming and crying. Punching the tank, because that's going to help. But yeah, there's a dude stuck under the wheels of this tank. And this tank's just buggered off, like, that tank's just gone, yeah, fuck it, I'm out of here. Oh god. This dude's body is mangled. His head is completely crushed. Of course. That's like a 10-ton tank right there. Next clip comes up, we've got a car crash. Some firemen trying to lift the roof off a crushed car.
Firefighters struggle to free a man trapped in the wreckage of a terrible accident. It's a scene rescue crews see far too often.
Okay, so it looks like this dude's still alive, and they're trying to get this guy out of a car. And they've sort of got stuff wrapped around the roof, and they're trying to pull it up using this sort of, not like rope, it's like a really thick wire. And they're trying to lift it off of him using this wire. Looks like the guy's unconscious, or he could have passed away, possibly. So they managed to get him out of this car. And they're basically carting him off. We've got an oxygen mask on him. Nothing too crazy. But this is the stuff you don't see. Because they're basically carting it off. Over here anyway, so you can't see anything. So it's just like somewhere in Asia, maybe China or something. I mean, they're all Asian people, definitely. I can say that much. So they're basically all looking around the wreckage, looking at the situation of what's gone on. I don't think I can show any of this. I'm not sure what I'm seeing is a pool of blood or not. But it's a pretty bad wreckage. There's about 3 cars there. Jesus Christ. I can't show this, but the car is sort of like bent. It's crushed and it's bent that way.
Being tied to a heavy wooden cross is one of the less arduous rituals held every Easter to reenact the suffering of Christ.
Yo, what? Okay. This is an interesting one. So, our next clip came up, and there's a guy who's been tied to a cross to reenact the Jesus Crucifixion thing on Easter. Let's continue this clip. There's somebody nailing something into his back.
Across the Philippines have their backs beaten with sharp mallets, then whip their wounds with strands of
Okay.
glass-studded bamboo.
Okay, so if you didn't hear that, it's basically been on each side of his back. They got a mallet with spikes, and they spiked his back on each side. And then they've made this guy flail. Is that the thing? Is that whip his back? These wounds with some glass-studded bamboo. I don't know what kind of Easter tradition this is, but it's fucked up.
The rituals date back to the 16th century, when Catholicism was introduced to the Philippines, Asia's only Christian nation. In other regions, villagers don't just carry crosses in penance, they're nailed to them.
Oh, they're actually nailed.
In this town, they beat themselves till they bleed. The Catholic Church frowns on the painful rituals, but has been unable to stop them. Those who take part believe their actions will bring God's forgiveness and blessings. At the end of their trek for penance, they prepare to suffer further, lying before the church and the gathering crowd.
Okay, so they basically made these guys kneel, and they're whipping them in front of a St. Lucia church. I'll believe you and me, God ain't seeing this shit. He's not looking at this and thinking, yeah, well done humanity, you've done well. It's definitely not doing that. Let's be honest. That's not helping anybody.
In atmosphere, the men are publicly flogged. Young children are encouraged to join in. They appear to revel in the ritual, no doubt forgetting that they will one day perhaps be at the other end of the whip.
Fucking hell. So they're encouraging young kids to join in and whip these guys who have been attached to a crucifix for the purpose of this ritual. This is not the kind of Easter Advent you see at your primary school. Jesus Christ. That's bad.
Whippings can have horrifying results, but those who take part believe that God has asked them to make such a sacrifice. Once the ordeal is over, the men bathe their wounds, ready to do the same next Easter.
Yeah, I've got no idea what they gained from that. No idea. Moving on. Jesus. Next clip comes up, there's basically a burning building.
No activity free from danger.
So there was this ambulance basically rushing towards this building. And there was basically this biker coming from the other end. And this ambulance this biker crashed into this ambulance and fell off his bike. And that's about it, nothing interesting. Moving on. Oh mate, okay. This is bad. That's really bad, okay. This bike, when he hit the ambulance, he fell off. And he started sort of convulsing, like he started going into, what do you call it, spasm, I suppose. Some sort of fit. And I think he just died on the spot. Looks like he got a head injury, of course. And as soon as that happened, an ambulance was right next to him. Jesus Christ. Next clip comes up, and there's a gun on the floor of a crime scene. Young lad looks like he's...
is rampant also in many Asian countries.
Oh, it's a gang war, okay. There's basically two lads on the floor with guns. I think we might have seen this in the last one actually. It's basically two lads that have been shot due to a gang affiliated sort of thing. And they're basically uncovering these bodies to see what wounds they've got. You know, little bullet holes and stuff like that. And the same as in the last one, it's basically showing the bullet holes up close. And the faces up close. And they're basically checking the faces and wiping dirt off of them to check for any wounds. And giving his face a good scrub there. Basically punching him with this tissue. Okay, next clip.
In many parts of the world, the aerobics craze is just catching on.
Oh, naked aerobics. Nice. Okay, there's people just jumping around doing stuff with the dongs flinging up and down and that. Oh, it's a tribe. Okay, that makes sense. Just a group of tribespeople jumping around. Penises flopping about, of course. Why wouldn't there be? And why is it showing them up close? The penises, I mean.
The victim of a terrible accident lies in the street. Bloodied, mangled, twisted, and torn.
God. Next clip comes up. There's basically just two people in the middle of the road. Blood everywhere. There's a guy, it's showing a close-up of this guy with blood coming out of his ears. Looks like some kind of motorbike accident, which are always brutal. There's a lot of open wounds and stuff like that. Ooh, okay, pause. Basically just showing a close-up of a guy, and his whole head is like indented, like there's like a huge gash out of his head. Basically, wow, Jesus. Okay, continue. They're having a look at this guy's body now to see if there's any more sort of wounds and stuff like that. A lot of this seems to be sort of the same stuff.
Insurance rates have just tripled.
Okay, let's pause real quick. A lot of this sort of stuff just seems to be the same stuff that we saw in the last two. You know, there's a lot of sort of crime scene stuff and all that kind of stuff. A lot of religious ceremonies that go on.
This man's insurance rates have just tripled.
Okay, so there's this guy basically. speeding across a beach, and wow. Whoa. Okay, so he went, pause real quick. So he went to jump a ramp, and there's this caravan, and he went to jump the caravan, and he crashed into the caravan. The whole thing blew up, and he's come out on the other side, and the car's completely on fire. The car's completely, it's gone. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is as well. Jesus. It looks like a really bad 80s movie. Just people with fire extinguishers. You could probably hear them in the background. Come straight to the scene. Is the dude alive? Struggling to get the doors open.
For several days, but there are still grim reminders of the war. Today, ABC News found the still burning remains of 11 people reportedly executed by the National Guard. The bodies were spread along 100 yards of lakefront. No attempt had been made to hide the grisly scene, and the fuel can that had been used was still there. At least one of the victims had his hands tied behind his back.
This amateur video was shot in the...
Okay, let's pause that real quick and explain the last one. These videos are really moving on quickly. There's loads of clips in this one. It's hard to keep up. Let's explain the last one. There was basically a ton of bodies on the floor. 11 people, I think it said. And these bodies were basically smoking, all charred and smoking due to an attack. Next clip. Okay, so there's basically this lad on the floor in a jungle in Nicaragua, and there's a fire that's broke out, and his legs are just completely burnt.
It's time to care for the wounded and bury the dead.
So he's on the floor and he's in pain, and there's a lot of blood, and his legs are completely bloodied up and charred, and he obviously can't walk on them. But he's got a mate next to him who's unfortunately been killed by this fire. Looks like his brains have been blown out as well. Oh yeah, there's a brain on the floor there. Yeah, it looks like this guy's been shot. Damn.
Incident at Oakbank, South Australia during the Great Eastern Steeplechase.
Okay, so there's a horse race going on. Next clip.
Sagamore, jockey Simon Mills is thrown. His right foot gets caught in the stirrup, and he's driven through the final.
Oh, and this jockey's fallen off of his horse. It's a white horse, and he's fallen off of his horse, and it's the jumps. You know the race that they do where they jump. And this jockey's got his foot caught in a stirrup, and he's fallen off the back of a horse. And the horse is dragging him around this track. Jesus Christ. And he went to the floor with a bang as well. Wow. That's mad. The horse basically jumped over this hedge with the jockey on the back. And now it's just doing a little recap of what we saw. You know, it's going back to that first clip I talked to you about with the bank robbery.
The world we live in has two sides. One of light and one of darkness and insanity. Although we can only hope that in the end, the light will prevail, we will continue to delve into the madness to bring you that which is banned in America.
So that was basically volume 3. Now I've got a couple of things to say after this. Because of how this one went, I do apologise if it was very, very sort of stuttered. It was very difficult to cover this time around, and I'll tell you why in a second. Pretty sure it's all over. It's just basically showing us what happened at the start with the robbery and the guy with the revolver. Okay, the end. I don't think there's anything else. Okay, yeah, it's just showing advertisements now. Whew, that was a long one. Okay. That's that. Wow. So that was Banned in America, Volume 3, explained the very best I can. Now, as usual, I enjoy the documentaries. I think Banned in America is a great documentary. There's one thing I will say, now I've got 3 more to cover. If there's one thing that I'm going to say, is that I think the best way to now cover these is to do them while I'm not watching them right here, right now. I think the best way to do these now is to watch them beforehand, like I'm going to be doing with mixtapes in the near future, because I'm going to be doing a few of them. You know, MD Pope, I'm going to start covering those in full. So they'll be really long videos, because some of these mixtapes are like 2.5, 3 hours long, and they're ridiculous. So I'm going to start planning those out now. But I will say, for the remainder of this series, it's a great series. I want to keep covering the next 3. What I will do is I'll watch them beforehand. So maybe watch them one night and then take notes, and then just basically explain what the narrator says in sort of a me to you sort of situation, and include hopefully some clips or screenshots of what's going on. I just find it a bit easier now, because there were a lot of talking in this one, so I felt like I was sat there very silent for a while, and I've had to edit some stuff out. Well, I say that now, I've not started editing it, but I can only presume that I'm going to be editing out a ton of stuff. So I think the best way to do it for the final 3 is just to watch it first, and that's it. Now, I did find myself rambling quite a bit in this one, and it's going to be about 1.5 hours. I can already feel it. It's something to watch. It's something you guys might have been interested in seeing, and hopefully I'm going to get some clips on here as well, because I've got the whole thing on here ready to go. So yeah, that was Banned in America, Volume 3. Thanks for watching, guys. Maybe like, subscribe, click that little bell next to the subscribe button. You'd be doing me a favour, making me proud. Well done, son. Well done, daughter. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.